Hey, what's up, everybody? What's up? Welcome back, and thank you for watching On the Town. I am your host, Tanya, and this week I have with me a very special guest. Let's just say this: for this week, our topic is the challenges of the calling. So basically, life throws us all twists and turns as human beings, right? We do what we can to bounce back. We do what we can when do right. We try to do right. But when we do wrong, we often fall short of perfection. But imagine being the son of a minister or being a clergy's child, or the pressure becomes greater. I was a preacher's kid. The pressure becomes greater to do what's right. Okay. And often you're judged harsher than others. So here with me tonight, please welcome Elder Richard Adamson II. Hey, welcome.
Hey, how are you? How are you?
Good. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me again.
How's it going? Post pandemic.
Good. Listen, I'm glad I'm alive. My family's alive, and it's good to see you again, Tanya. We got a lot of history together.
Yes, definitely.
You were the first person to interview me when my former group put out their album, so you knew me before I was in the ministry.
Oh, that's right. Yes, that's right. And before we leave tonight, we'll listen to that song, actually, guys. So we'll pull that up and listen to it because it's a dope song. You get the fire emojis. Keep my head to the sky, so that's my hook right there. So I know you, like me, was a preacher's kid. What was it like finding your identity as a preacher's kid?
Say that. Can you repeat that? I couldn't hear you.
What was it like finding your identity as a preacher's kid?
Honestly, it's funny that you asked me that because it was agonizing. It was agonizing, painful, difficult, because people don't understand that just because you're born into a Christian family, just because your parents are Christian, that doesn't mean that you automatically are born with your identity in the church and everything else like that. You're born like every other human, and often people try to create your narrative for you. Like you're a preacher's child, so this is you. Like, I've had so many people. Don't get me wrong, I've had a lot of supportive people, and I thank God for them. But I had a lot of people try to tell me who I was, without letting me find out on my own. Many times people were, they would see me maybe kind of searching for an identity or believing that something was my identity. And people love to say that famous line, "That's not you. That's not you." And, sometimes people say that because they really feel that way. But then sometimes people see you striving for a certain image or something like that, and they like to just shoot it down. And, people often try to create my narrative for me. Some people never gave me they were often judging me before they allowed me to be my own person. So once they found out I was the son of ministers, preachers, born into a Christian home, it was automatically like, okay, we know who you are.
Right.
You don't get to define who you are. We already know because of all the other preachers' children. So your individuality is stolen. It's something you have to fight for.
Right. Well, I don't know. I mean, people used to try to geek on me about it and be like, "Oh, your mom's a preacher, goody two shoes," and I was like, "Yeah, she is." So I would play with them. I didn't care. I understand how it could.
Oh yeah, but listen, that's how I learned to play the dozens. People snapped on me all the time, but I was just as sharp. So I held my own a lot. Well, you know me, Tanya, so you already
right.
I don't have to explain that.
Learn how to hold your own because I know a lot of people who are preacher kids, and I felt bad for them. I was like, I couldn't go through that torture, but that was just me. It's very hard to stomp on me. Like, that's not going to happen, especially as a young kid, because I was a foster kid. Maybe that's the element that helped bring me over the top and not send me down the hill. Cause it could really, I know people that were really traumatized by it. And because people were really always trying to get them in trouble because they want to prove that, oh, why don't you prove you're really like one of us instead? You know what I'm saying? What's your loyalty?
Oh, yeah. If we would have to do a whole nother show.
Right.
if I told you like the stuff that certain people tried to get me to do.
Oh
You
yeah.
know,
You
that's
don't
what.
even have to,
Yeah.
you don't even have to tell me that, because that's called the devil. And
Mhm.
as soon as you say I'm going right, he says nope, you're gonna go left. As soon as you say it,
Mhm.
it's like it's almost better like
Yeah.
don't speak it,
Hmm.
don't say nothing. But as soon as you claim that you love God, or anything like that, thereof, as they say, the
Hmm.
devil says, let's see how much you really mean that. I don't know why.
Well,
Uh,
some people like to see you fail at your
yes,
purpose.
yes.
And there were some. I had a lot of good people, that
Mhm.
was around me, but then I had some that they wanted to see my downfall because, my father wasn't just a preacher; he was an activist too, and
Oh,
so he fought against certain injustices. And it was just some people, because I was his child, they just wanted to see me fall. Like I remember one time, it was a job that I went for, and when they saw my name, they blackballed me. But a lot of times people don't even know that I went through stuff like that.
that's horrible. That is just horrible.
Mhm.
I can't even understand that kind of evil type of people. I don't understand it. But have you ever faced discrimination as a Christian? Because I
Yeah.
know that's a whole nother thing.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Listen, I face discrimination as a Christian not only because of standing up for what's right in many cases,
Mhm.
but also, I mean, this is hard for me to talk about, but sometimes for my own people, because people look at Christianity as being something white, even though when you really study it, there's nothing racial as far as Christianity belonging to a race.
Mhm.
When you look at the origins of the church and you know Christ and Christianity, when you look it up, you're going to see places like Judea,
Right.
Jerusalem, you know, place in the Middle East, some parts
Mhm.
of Africa,
Mhm.
because back in the day, before certain parts was called the Middle East, part of
Right.
those places were African.
We're all
Um,
African.
yeah, so I've been disrespected by certain peer groups because they're like, oh, he's a Christian, he's a church boy, you know what I'm saying? But they're not really educated on what Christianity is. They just know that the other religions sound more cool. Like I seen dudes rock kufis and go with Islam because it just seems more in style. They don't really know the doctrine of either one.
Right.
You know what I mean? But because I was brought up in the church, people used to just automatically say, "Oh, it's because of your father."
Mm.
But I'm like, nobody has a right to tell me what my experience with God is, and
Right.
people have done that. So yes, I have faced a lot of discrimination. At one particular job I worked at,
Mhm.
uh, one of the people who were over me, I guess he had a bad experience with preachers,
Mhm.
and somebody told him I was a preacher, and so from that point on, he was like really on me about looking for mistakes and just looking to take me down. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Uh, but I've gotten that kind of treatment ever since I was a kid. Like a lot of people knew who my father was in the community. So when certain things would happen with me, people would just wait to see what I would do. Like
Right.
one time I got attacked by a teacher in school. She punched me in the back of the head with a closed fist, and her ring went into my skin a little bit.
What?
Um, yeah, and I told, and basically they didn't really do nothing. They just was waiting to see what me and my family was going to do because that's the Christian family. But instead of giving us justice, they wanted to see our reaction. That's discrimination because why would you use a crime committed against me to test my family's Christianity?
That's
So
horrible. I hope
yeah,
they press
so
charges and child endangerment, blah blah blah, the whole nine.
oh, they didn't do nothing to her. Number
No, you should.
one,
Family should have pressed charges against her. That's period. If you're hitting a
mhm,
child, that's
yeah,
abuse. Yeah.
yeah. Oh yeah. No, my family did come to the school, huh?
Mhm. They
I'm
did
sorry.
come to the school.
Yeah, my family came to the school. They did whatever they had to do, but you know how hard it is to get justice. And plus, I mean, I hate to say this, I don't have any hatred towards any race, but I do have to be honest about the dynamics. She was white. She was a white.
Oh.
She was a white woman who punched a young black kid,
Ooh.
and
Mm.
you
Could
know,
not have been a child. Mm-mm. Because I had a similar incident when my daughter was younger, but they learned quickly what kind of mother I was. They were like,
yeah.
okay, and actually the kid was, well, he was mixed. I don't know if he was adopted or whatever, but his mom was a white attorney, and I was like, well, you're an attorney, you know what I'm gonna do.
Right,
you know,
right,
you already know. My middle name is Sue. Stop playing. So I ended up winning that battle because I was like, no, you can't hit my what? Hit my kid? Oh no. No, and that was her son that did it. So you know how, and he was about the same age, but I was like, I don't care if he has ADHD. I don't care if he has special needs. I don't care what his problem is. You can't hit on mine. That's not going to happen. So
no,
I'm
you
just
can't.
Sorry you had to go through that because that must have been very traumatizing for you.
That impacted me. That impacted me for years. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to lie to you. I forgave her. Huh?
Good. You forgave her. Good.
No, I'm sorry. I forgave her. Yeah, I forgave her. It took me a while. I'm not gonna lie, because I just had to set myself free. But as a kid, I was only like 10 or 11, and she was a teacher who she used to like spew out her issues with men in the class. Sometimes we didn't really understand that because we was, we 10 and 11 years old. We don't know anything about, the battle of the sexes. We don't know nothing about that.
Right.
But she kind of had an issue with males. And so I guess she figured, because I've been treated like that before too, until people find out that I come from a Christian family. They used to see a young black kid, high top fade. Oh, he thinks he's tough. Let me show him he's not. And that's kind of what she did with me. I got into a scuffle with another child. The child hit me, and then I started defending myself. Right. And then she came and punched me. Yeah. But there was no reason for it because, nobody in the school was scared of me. People didn't see me and run or hide their lunch money. You know what I mean? Like, I've worked in my profession in human services, I've worked with children who could harm you, who are bigger than me. You know what I'm saying? I'm 6 feet. I've worked with children that are 6'4", 6'5". They could really hurt you. You know what I mean? I wasn't that type of child. So, you know what I mean? And I know how to de-escalate.
Right.
I've learned how. Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. Wow. Well, that's you're bigger than me. I mean, I know we all live and learn, but hit my child. I don't know. Have you ever suffered spiritual attacks? Because I've seen that's a big thing, and especially, I don't know. I think after the pandemic and stuff, people are, like that's why I think a lot of crime in New York City has gone up because a lot of mental illness is just being let loose, So with that being said, there's that going on, and you have other elements going on. I can't imagine the daily pecks that come at you of, sinful people trying to attack you or trying to test you still. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I've gone through like spiritual attacks my whole life. It started when I was a child. The devil used to try to really impact me with fear. Mm-hmm. Like he it's hard to explain because I don't want people to think I'm outside of my mind. I'm not. But he, there were things that came to me that just, terrified me. And I used to wake up like with tears in my eyes and stuff like that, crying and just like, but God always put something in me to pray, and I suffered it through sickness one time. I don't know if my sister Sonia remembers this, but she was there for this. I think she's watching too. Okay. But we lived on Horton Avenue in New Rochelle. And I got these stomach pains out of nowhere, and I was laying next to my mother, like screaming. That's how hard it was. That's how bad it was hurting. And I just kept saying, Jesus, Jesus, Lord, help me, Jesus. That's how bad. And I mean, I was only like 9, and my mother was praying over me too, and it went away. Then it came back. I started saying Jesus again, Jesus again, and then it went away. And but yeah, it started. The satanic forces do not wait until you're grown. They come after you when you're a child. And listen, that's biblical, But then, then as I got older, I used to suffer spiritual attacks through relationships. Right. Most of the relationships I've been in, they were abusive. I got abused. You know what I mean? Which a lot of men don't come out and talk about, but there's more. When I say abuse, like all abuse is not getting punched in the head or thrown
Right.
downstairs and stuff like
Right.
that.
It's
Smacked.
mental, which is worse.
Yeah. When
Yeah,
people know,
mental.
when people know your heart is there and
Mhm.
you got feelings for them, it's like, now I got them. So they'll do
Mhm.
things. They'll use
Yep.
sex. They'll use manipulation and just a cruel thing to do to a human being that you know has feelings for you. You know what I
Yep.
mean?
Mhm.
You know.
Yeah. No, it's happened, and
Mhm.
that's it's hard if you're not really in tune, as I say.
Mhm.
Boy, it can really be something else. It could really.
Mhm.
What was
But
dating like?
what I did learn is that nice guys don't finish last. I learned that though. I used to think that, but they don't.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mm. You think so? They don't finish last, right?
they don't.
Don't.
Yeah, I'm a witness.
That's right. Good.
Mhm.
Good for you.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
was dating like for you as a preacher's kid?
Oh man. Sorry.
That's okay.
um, that was rough because hey Sonia, I see you. That was rough because it was like I got used a lot.
Right.
People will do things in relationships that they know is wrong, but because you're the son of a preacher, you're supposed to let it go. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've been cheated on. It just, I guess, a lot of games played. But I also used to get ruled out because I grew up in the church.
Right.
Like, but I never understand why that's out of style. I never understood that then. Like, like when I used to like certain girls, they used to go, but he's a church boy.
Mm.
And I'm like, I don't, it just used to sound stupid to me. So I'm like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't get it. Like, get to know me. You know what I'm saying? Just because I grew up in a church doesn't mean that I'm in a religious box like everybody else. You know what I mean?
Right.
Not to say that I don't believe in Jesus, but I was just like any other normal young man. And I think sometimes people exaggerate people in church. You listen, people assume things about you.
Yes.
And that's hard because like you were saying before, you've seen what some preachers' children have went through, and it's like crazy. And on the dating scene, it was crazy because I was expected to be one way, but only I was supposed to live by a standard, which is another form of like double standard or discrimination.
Yeah.
You know.
Do you think it's harder for you because it was a guy versus a girl?
Oh, absolutely.
For me, I mean, maybe I was a little spacey, maybe that's why. Maybe people were doing things. I was just like, do, 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 you know, they could be asking me to like, go step in this river. And then I walk right by the river. They'd be like, here, choose a slingshot. And I'd be like, what's a sling? I mean, I'm just totally, when I was that age, I was clueless. So if you try to get me in trouble, like one time, and this is embarrassing. One time, a friend of mine, God rest her soul, told me to hold this little beautiful, what do you call it? It's like a pillbox. I don't know if it's a pillbox. It was a wooden carved little, I think I wanted to say it was like a pillbox, but it wasn't a pillbox. It was wooden. It was about this big. And I think you hold your jewelry or something, and I don't know, and it's painted like shellacked with like the Virgin Mary or something on it. It's like really nice, something really nice, like Picasso, something really nice. So she was like, do me a favor, hold this for me and just bring it back to me to school tomorrow. And I was like, yeah, sure. I'm not thinking anything. I'm a typical, I think I was in middle school or ninth grade. And I was like, I don't do drugs of any type, right? So I'm not thinking there could be something in there, right? So I was like, yeah, I'll hold it. Because I kept saying, oh, that's so cool. What is it? And I was like feeling, because it was shellacked and it was like smooth. So I was really upset with whatever this little thing was, little box or whatever it was. And so I took it home. I sat on my mother's dresser, and guess what was in there?
Drugs.
Marijuana. Okay, yeah, okay. It was a marijuana stick. I don't know how you say it back then.
Well, speaking of marijuana, I don't with dating and with friends. People had this undying desire, right? And I'm thinking it's spiritual to get me to do something that, you know what I mean? Like, and that goes that goes along with discrimination, because discrimination also entails treating somebody the way you would not want to be treated, but justifying it, right?
Right.
Everybody has a right to have standards.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that I always had a standard was, I just, at that time I was boxing, writing rhymes. So I needed my mind. I needed my strength. So I was always like, I don't smoke or drink. A lot of girls that I was dating, they always wanted to get me to smoke or drink. Some of them, not all. I had some like very decent ones who respected where I was at. Right. But they always wanted to get me to smoke or drink.
That was my story.
Yeah. And even with sexual stuff, like I was a young man who started late. You know what I mean? I wasn't really having sex
out there like that. Right.
Yeah. It just wasn't. It just wasn't how my life was going at the time. And then I had a young lady say to me, I'll take your virginity just for the sake of, not because she was attracted to me, not because there was any, admiration for me or anything like that. It was just, I want to take it so I could say I took it. You know what I mean? And, I was also told one time, I won't say the age I was, but they were asking, how, young people sit around, they eat and they have conversations like, oh, how many people you've been with? How many girls you had? And then it got to me, right? I couldn't eat that hamburger fast enough to get out of there. You know what I mean? I was like, I saw where the conversation was going. I want to eat and go.
Right.
And then one of the young ladies said to me, she asked me, and everybody was like, just answer, Rich. So I gave my answer. She was like, well, for me, that's good. She was like, but for you, that's bad. So if you wasn't having sex, if you was a man and girls wasn't interested in you sexually like that, it was like something was wrong with you. And that's how it was put. You know what I mean? So like, yeah, like sometimes going back to your other question, because this just popped in my head.
Right.
When it comes to facing discrimination, yeah, people call Christians judgmental. But sometimes people are more judgmental on religious people. They point their nose. I've had people point their nose down at me a lot and judge me, not knowing nothing about me. And people make the mistake of thinking that only religious people can be hypocrites. But you don't have to be religious to be a hypocrite.
Absolutely.
And
absolutely correct.
Yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. Absolutely correct. That's just you can be, any human being can be. I mean, I think it's just structured in our human DNA to not be perfect. Period.
Exactly.
So even if I'm a monk, you know what I'm saying? That's not going right today. Tomorrow I might bump my toe and say a curse word. I don't know. Yeah. Maybe you didn't hear me, but I said it. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Oh yeah.
So I do think we hold our religious persons in a higher standard, and that's only because they took an oath. We didn't take an oath. So we expect us to be like, cursing out Betty or Mary or Susie. But to hear a preacher do it, I knew a cursing nun. And first time I heard it, I was like, oh, Sister so-and-so, you said a curse. And she said, you're damn right I did. I was like, oh, you said 2 curses. So in my head, it was like a nun. And when I said, man, you don't have on your habit. And she was like, I don't need that habit. God knows who I am. And I was like, well, aren't we? So here I was, all these things came, and here all those judgments. And it was funny because the way she told me, I was like, yeah, nuns don't have to have on a habit. It's what they're doing and their actions that makes them the nun. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. And you know what?
I'm a preacher, but if I'm not helping my community, if I'm not spreading the word of God, if I'm not, if I'm up here sleeping with all the women in the congregation, hello. I mean, you know what I'm saying? But I might not. I might be people. Yeah. So you have to judge by what people do, not what they say.
Exactly. And you know what? You also have to judge by what you would want for yourself. Like, case in point, I remember one time somebody, violated me in a way, like verbally, right? And one of my peers was like, well, listen, Rich, they're not a Christian. So I said, I had to ask this question. I said, I know, we're the ones that took the oath and everything. I said, but let me ask you this question. Do you have to be a Christian for me to know, for you to know that you don't want me stealing from you? for you to know that you don't want me cursing you out, disrespecting your woman, your wife, and so sometimes people use the religious card,
right,
to clear their own conscience. Well, I'm not a Christian, but that doesn't mean you got a right to steal, rob, disrespect. You know what I'm saying? It's like everybody still has. I know a lot of non-religious people that have standards.
right.
You know, so it's about treating each other how we want to be treated, and
Absolutely.
yeah, and we have the wherewithal. Like one of the worst experiences I've ever had with that, right, is one young lady. I don't know what was going through her mind, but there was a guy we worked for. He was telling all these dirty jokes, so I'm feeling awkward because I'm like, he's telling, and he knows. Now here's the thing, he knows what and who I am, right? So he's doing it. I think he was doing it on purpose.
Yep.
Because some people are just disrespectful.
That's what I call it. I was gonna say that's called disrespectful.
Yeah, and see, sometimes people play the Christian things because other religious groups are not as passive.
Right. Right.
They'll come at you. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But Christians are taught to be more peaceful. But he was saying something, so I felt a little awkward. And I'm not going to lie to you, the moment was a little intimidating because we worked for him. So I'm like smirking, but I'm like giggling. So she goes, Rich, you know, you're a Christian. You shouldn't be laughing. So I said, you're right. But then I caught myself. But as a man, I still carry myself like a man. But I wanted to say, because this is what I knew about her. I said, well, okay, you may not be a Christian, but do you have to be a Christian and know that it's wrong for you to be sleeping with that woman's husband? And we all know you doing. You sleeping with her husband, and you're supposed to be, you know, the supervisor of legal services. You sleeping with that woman's husband and playing with their son like it's your child.
Right.
So, like, people always have, you know, people use religious people sometimes to clear their conscience about what they're doing. But I'm glad I didn't go there, but I have a bit of a sharp tongue. I grew up around 3 girls. You know what I'm saying? So, but I caught myself. Yeah.
Definitely. So do you mind if we go? We're going to go to a sketch break real quick. And then we're going to come right back. Is that all right? I think we're going to take a quick sketch city. Let's see if we can pump it up here. So guys, hang out for a minute. We're going to check out one of Sketch City's videos. It's denying me something here. This is not a good look, you guys. So which one's first? Let's see. Sketch. Where is it at? Let's go with the music video first. I was gonna do vice versa. Let's go with that first.
Okay.
All right. Let's go. All right. That's good. And I'll put us out here for a minute. Just be right back.
Chevy pulls up the drive, Hobie in gear, feeling alive. Another full moon tonight is burning bright. Open roads always see, map in the sky, drawing our dreams, vibrating frequency and ecstasy. All the windows down, blood in my veins can't contain the same. Handprints in the sand, carving our names on trees we find. Sing, sing, ooh. Won't you play it loud? Don't you turn it down? Sing, sing, ooh. Places I've never been, feel like I can again. Sing, sing, ooh. Won't you play it loud? Don't you turn it down? Sing, sing, ooh. Places I've never been, feel like I can again. Sing, sing. Staying up till sunrise, singing the songs that make us believe we can change our lives, open our minds. All we could do is laugh, nothing to be but wild and free, making this moment last. It's all we need. All the windows down, blood in my veins can't contain the same. Handprints in the sand, carving our names on trees we find. Sing, sing, ooh. Won't you play it loud? Don't you turn it down? Feel alive. I feel alive. I'm flying high. Not coming down, not coming down, not coming. Float on air, float on air. Not coming down, not coming down, not coming down. Sing, won't you play it loud? Don't you turn it down. Sing, sing, places I've never been, feel like I can't again. Sing, sing, won't you play it loud? Don't you turn it down. Sing, sing, places I've never been, feel like I can't again. Sing, sing.
That was Cat Spina.
Oh yeah, my friend. It's a good friend of mine.
Yes, that was awesome. Very nice, Cat
Yeah.
Spina. Thank you. That was great. So
Mhm.
I'm Tanya, and you're watching On the Town. In case you just tuned in, I'm here with Elder Richard Adamson II, and we are talking about being a preacher's kid and the good, the bad, and ugly that goes with that. So thank you
Yeah.
so much for joining us. Well, there was another question. What was your personal experiences with God in your religion?
Oh, well, I had quite a few.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, when I was called, I had a personal experience with God, one night when I was sleeping, and it was so powerful that, it literally like brought me to tears. It interrupted my sleep.
Mm-hmm.
It started, and then it started in my sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And, usually like you'll think it's a dream. When you wake up, it's over. But when I woke up, it was still going on.
Mm.
And
Wow.
that's when I really understood, like, man, I have to preach the gospel.
Mm.
And it was scary, though, because I had you know me, Ton. You know me ever since I was in my 20s.
Right. Wow.
I had all these other aspirations. I
Right.
had a music group. I was boxing, I did the movie Harlem's Beauty, had a short little scene in there, but that was a start. You know what I mean? I just got picked out of a couple of people. They was like, so I was like, yo, I wasn't really, and then with the music and going to these different places, I was meeting girls. It was just being, having things available to me that I didn't have when I was younger, when I was in high school.
Right.
So honestly, I kind of knew in the back of my mind, like God was calling me, because every once in a while I would get this feeling.
Mm-hmm.
But then I was having so much fun, or trying to have so much fun. I wasn't really. So when it came to me, I had to humble myself and be like, okay. But it was difficult.
Right.
And when I got to calling,
Mm-hmm.
and I decided to answer it,
Mm-hmm.
Things got worse. Temptation got bigger.
I was going to ask
So
you. What
I went,
pressure
I went through a few more years of kind of like turmoil, and being that I was like you asked me earlier about being a man or a boy at that time, I was a man then. I was a young man, but sometimes young men, we get forgotten emotionally.
Yes.
That's why we struggle as husbands and fathers, because people forget to nurture us emotionally. There's nothing feminine about emotions, but people look at it like that.
Right.
And so they starve us emotionally. And then when we get married, so I had to ask God to help me with that. Like, I was like, God, if I'm going to be a preacher, if I'm going to do things, to help people, and I said, I need, some wounds healed,
Right.
So it was that personal experience was powerful, because it actually moved me to have a talk with God, not only about what I would be doing to help others and for Christ, but I had to talk to God about what was going on with me, which is very important for preachers and men and women of God to do.
Right.
Because I faced, like I said, a lot of obstacles, being left on the battlefield by myself, so to speak, because I'm a community person,
Right.
and I've done some activism, but because of the Christian thing, a lot of people criticize me, and I had to ask God for help with that, because a lot of people, they got their fist in the air, but when I was getting people out of jail, when I was helping people get off drugs, when I was going to the prisons and all of that, a lot of these fists in the air people wasn't with me.
Right.
Now that they doing their thing, they got something to say about the church. That's hard, because it's like, yeah, you got all this heart when it comes to coming out with the church and all of this, but when it came to facing the beast, it was this little old kid from New Rochelle.
Right.
A lot of the guys that I was with from the boroughs and all these other places, when the beast stood up, a lot of them sat down and they just left me. And so I had to ask God, how do I deal with that? Because I'm upset.
Right.
So God was working. One of my personal experiences with God is having to deal with betrayal, unfair criticism, but still loving the people. And God had to deal with me with that. He actually let me know to a certain extent why he allowed me to experience such pain, because what people didn't understand was when I was called to preach, it wasn't all a mountaintop Martin Luther King, experience. Right. A lot of it was pain and choice.
Right.
Choice is a gift, but it's a burden in a way.
Right. Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Right, because there's reasons why you got to make a choice. And then you have to choose. You have to choose between your feelings, your heart, and your emotions, and God. And the wisest thing you could do is choose God. But it's hard to deny your heart. You have to literally deny your own heart, because God tells you your heart can lie to you. So there was a lot of passions and anger and frustrations that I had. But God was like, choose me, though. If you choose me, it'll come out right.
Right.
So, and I'm still on that path. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a battle, because a lot of people said to me, well, my mother used to tell me that I was going to be called one day, and I keep hearing, but I was like, yeah, okay, I'll answer that another time. But so I was like, I am listening. I am doing my work in another way, helping foster youth. That's my work. That's how I'm going to do my call. And I do other things, but it's hard, because as soon as you say you're going to do this, the devil's like, hey, what's up? How you doing? Yeah. And it's so cunning. And, you're like, that person betrayed me of all people? Like, really? People you never expected to not understand, don't understand. I think obstacles that you never thought would be in your way are in your way. And it's like, okay, so I'm supposed to deal with it. And then you still got to be nice to people. I get in situations where it's like, okay, I'm supposed to be a Quaker, nonviolent, blah, 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 right? Peace, love, happiness. But then as soon as something happens, like, okay, I'll give you an example, which may not be the best one, but like with the Ukraine war going on now, I saw that happening, and I was like ready to go pack clothes and give stuff and blah, blah, because my neighbor was going. I was like, take all this stuff. And then when I saw the camera footage of the Africans couldn't get on the train because they were black, I was like, whoa. Then I heard the history of Poland and the racism, that the people literally were calling them monkeys, the soccer players, or some of them basketball, one in the league was like, yeah, they call us monkeys regular. I was like, what? I was like, wait. So let me get this right. So this group of people has not been known to be, nope. And I was like, oh man. So now as a Christian, right? I'm supposed to ignore all that. I'm supposed to say, well, maybe Lord, one of them will still love us, right? That's what I'm supposed to say. But the other Tanya part, that's just Tanya, the regular girl, the good old non-Christian side, says, what? I can't do that. So you get caught between a rock and a hard place quite often. And it's a fun challenge now. Now it's fun because I understand what it is. I didn't know what it was when I was growing up.
Yeah. So and you know what? A big part of why people don't like Christianity is because it involves forgiveness. Like, let me tell you something.
Yes,
people make this. Yeah, people used to tease me and say, holy, holy. They used to yell out holy because they think that all Christians think they're holy. But that's because they don't know all Christians. But what I know is that the reason why I came to Christ, because there were some things I did that God forgave me for. And I was like, I gotta preach this gospel because he forgave me after I did this. Like there was times where I told God I'm not gonna do this no more, and I went and did it. You know what I mean? And then I watched him change my father's life. See, people that know me, they know the story, but they don't know my father's history, being shot by the police after beefing with my former producer's father. They were getting into it. That's why when we came together for a group, everybody was the people that knew about it was shocked. But my father being shot by the police, going to jail, struggling with drugs, and then Christ changing his life. So I seen the miracle. That's why when I work as a drug counselor, I don't care how many times a person relapsed, I believe they can make it because I seen God change my father's life. Yeah. But I didn't get saved because I felt I was holy. God forgave me. So now the challenge for me is to forgive those who have hurt me. Like you said, when you saw what happens to Black people in Poland, let me tell you something. Sometimes as a Christian, you feel like the weight of the world is on your shoulders because I've dealt with racism, right? I've been searched illegally by the police for nothing, sitting in front of my house and prove to them this is my address. Well, get out anyway. Put your hands up. Okay, cool. Well, my parents got to come outside. But then, just understanding why forgiveness is important. Sin corrupts the whole human race because if you're not getting discriminated against or mistreated by a person of another race, then it's your own. Like I never forget. I was coming home from a cookout. Me and a couple of my buddies, we were riding in the car. Now they were smoking. I wasn't smoking, but we was listening to Wu-Tang and just screaming, acting crazy. Just being young. Yeah, having fun. So the cops pull us over. So the first thing I'm thinking, like a lot of times I hung out with older people, right? And so the guys are older than me. So they're kind of giving me the nod like, yeah, move, Rich, we got this. So I'm like, good, because if my father finds out I'm dead, if I, get handcuffs or something. So I'm easing away. And then one of my friends, I got songs with this brother. Mm-hmm. He yells out my name so the police could hear me on purpose. So when I confronted him about it, I seen him later on in school. I'm like, yo, why would y'all the first ones talking about y'all don't believe in no snitches and all of this. Why would you yell out my name? So he kind of laughed about it. And then yeah, but I don't know what it was. But I know the whole I know what part of it was. The whole church boy thing, right? My father raised me, he said, at all costs, if you can, avoid violence, right? Right. Because he was telling me where violence got him. So most people knew that about me, and they knew that Rich is not really going to get violent, Right. Well, at least that's what they thought, So I had my moments, right. but what got me so upset is because there were cats that we grew up with that I know he wouldn't have did that to, because he knew they would have came to see him. You know what I mean? Right. Yep. Right. But I had to forgive him. You understand what I'm saying? It took me a long time because, like I said, me and this brother we're on records together. Right. We're on songs together. And there was no reason to do that. And you can see the emotion that kicks up when I even talk about it. Right. But forgiveness, sets us free. Yes. Because human beings, they hurt each other. Just like what you see in Poland, right? They're being oppressed. Then they're oppressing others.
Right. Well, right now, Ukraine. I was using Poland as that's the place that was taken in the Africans after the.
Ukraine. Sorry. Yeah.
No. So Poland. You said it right. But I'm just correcting so people know I know the difference. Ukraine's having the issue right now, but both of them not taking Africans. So that's that. Yeah.
Yeah. No, but you know what? It's sad, but everybody finds somebody to oppress.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
And that's when. I'm sorry to interrupt. That's when Christianity really can kick in, because that's when you have to stop and say, like, I sometimes have to stop myself, even when in the midst of someone being racist toward me, I have to stop myself and say, okay, this person's past is why they're the way they are. So I'm not dead. I'm not hurt. Okay, can I move forward on this? Sometimes I have to literally step back because I can get so consumed in the fact that someone could be so racist to want me dead. Like, that's just crazy to me. Crazy.
But you know why? And this is why forgiveness is important, even though it's hard for us to, at our human side, because hatred is blindness. Yes. Hatred is blindness. When I read the Bible about Judgment Day, the sad thing about judgment day for the people who miss heaven is that when they stand in front of God, those blinders are going to be off.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to realize I'm losing my soul for ignorance. I'm losing my soul because my human passion. That's why I always tell people, I'm a person that's not impressed with passion. It's truth. Now, if your passion is connected to truth, all well and good. But your passion can be connected to ignorance, which could lead you to darkness. And that's when you read the Bible about Judgment Day, a lot of people's human passion is going to be what destroys them. You listen.
You have never lied.
You have people that think it's okay to hate blacks. You have people that think it's okay to hate women. You have people that think it's okay to hate men. Then you have people that think it's okay to hate the younger generation. Everybody has a category to hate someone.
Right.
But what God is saying, what does it profit a man to gain the whole world and lose his what? Soul, not his color, not his bank account. That's why Jesus said to the disciples, he said, seek ye the kingdom of heaven first. Seek to make heaven first. That's one thing. You talk about experiences with God, right? I was in a backslidden condition one time, and I got sick and went into the hospital. I was begging God not to take my life because I wasn't sure if I would make it. I wasn't worried about my bank account. Ain't much in there anyway. But I wasn't worried about my cars or my car or clothes or nothing like that. I was worried about where my soul was going. And I'm telling you, when I was in there the first time I got sick like that, because I have asthma. And eventually I got high blood pressure. Like I was in a backslidden condition, meaning I had walked away from God for a little bit. And then I ended up in the hospital. And I remember a dream he gave me. He was trying to wake me up where I was on a boat that was sinking. And he came to me and said, you're not right with me. So when I leave here, I'm not afraid of death. I'm not afraid of nobody killing me. I'm not afraid of none of that. I'm afraid of dying without Christ. I'm afraid of dying without being forgiven for my sins, because my soul knows that I have to spend eternity somewhere. So that's why he says, that's why it's harder to be a Christian, because some of the other religions believe in fighting back and all that. But when you pray and God tells you not to ignore sin, but to pray for them because they're headed for destruction. Right. I'd rather go through the temporary pain of being a black man discriminated against than go through eternal punishment for unforgiven sin.
I know. I feel like that too. I mean, I was weighing that. It's funny you said that. I was weighing that because of the pandemic. I think I was weighing that too. I was like, okay, I got to get my God checklist. I call it. Like, have I been a good person? Check. Have I really been doing what he told me? Check. All right. Have I sinned? Wait for it. For it, Lord.
We all have.
Do I have time to fix this? Yes. Check. Okay. So now I'm like, okay, let's do an assessment. Let's figure this out. What do we need to do to keep it on the right track? I mean, I'm not the worst of sinners, but I'm sure, when I curse somebody out, that's not the best thing that God would want me to do. So that's just bad as, well, I don't know if it's just grabbing a purse, but, it's still bad. It's still bad.
Well, sin is sin.
Yeah, sin is a sin, but only one I don't forgive, and Pastor, you'll have to work with me on this one, is pedophiles, because I was a victim as a child. So those are the only ones I just, under no circumstances, I can never forgive them ever. And I keep working on it. I'm never going to say never, but as of today, still 50 something years later, I'm like, nah, I don't think so. And I'm willing to take one for the team on that one, which is really bad. That's why I know I'm sinning, because I'm like, the Lord's
you know what?
me.
Well, as a preacher, see, this is where people go wrong. As a preacher, right? Because as a preacher and as a professional, I deal with victims, right?
I know.
And I tell people, as a preacher, I would never tell somebody to get over something. Okay, we do that too much in our society. Even though God, no, never. That's, first of all, Tanya, let me just tell you this, right? And this is what my sister watching and a lot of people watching this live, right? I don't think I went through to the extent that you did, but twice I've had people touch me against my will. So I know what that feels like. Okay. A lot of people just don't know that about. Yeah, there was 2 instances where I was touched against my will. Now, mind you, I did suffer a little bit of child abuse in school because that wasn't the only teacher that attacked me, right? I got punched, right? But then I also went through 2 people on 2 different occasions touching me in a way, a sexual way, borderline sexual, that I didn't appreciate.
Right.
And I asked them to stop, and they did it again. That's infuriating. And I wanted to go get a gun. You know what I'm saying? I just thank God that I didn't get the gun at that time. But the people who I asked to help me, because I was a boy, they was like, well, why didn't you fight?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, for real? That's what you say to a victim? So you see the passion that if you can feel my palms right now, they sweaty. So I would never tell you to just get over that. That's wrong, and that's not even biblical. You pray for people, and you ask God to bring them healing. Even though God asks us to forgive, right? He also asks the perpetrators of whatever offense. We are supposed to say, I'm sorry. Right. We are supposed to reconcile. When you forgive that person, you free yourself. But if that person never makes amends with you, whoever hurt you, whether it be verbally, physically, they have to answer to God because their sin is not cleansed. And that's why I tell people, I said, I do preach about forgiveness, but I also preach about repentance, right? I have no right to hurt you and tell you to get over it. Right. But people do that.
Right. But wait, so here's my question. Maybe it's a little too personal. So, okay, I did get two apologies. I will say that. I got to be honest. And I always say, I forgive you, but I don't forget, and I don't want to have tea and crumpets with you. So, but my issue is this.
That's not wrong.
Mm-hmm. I know, but this is where I go wrong. This is where I go left. You're going to have to help me on this.
All right.
I'm a comedian, so I talk about this on stage. But like,
you're really good too.
So I say, they said sorry. I said, I forgive you. We're not having tea and crumpets. But I'm still like, if they're in heaven when I get there, I might have to go with a bag of ice to hell with the I mean, that's bad. That's horrible. I'm a sinner. I admit it. I admit I am.
No, I think that's your human side. Your human side is always going to have his feelings. Like, I've forgiven people, right? But sometimes the thoughts still pop up and I get mad. I'm just human. Because people feel like, for whatever reason, like, you got an apology. I never got that.
Right. I'm so blessed.
The majority of the people that have done anything to ever hurt me, I haven't got no apologies. Okay. Seriously. Like, there's stuff I can't even say to you on camera right now. Right. You know what I'm saying? But you know me, you know some of my story. But there's people. Now listen, I'm not saying I was perfect. I never violated nobody. I didn't feel the need to do that. You know what I'm saying? Right. I'm man enough to wait till a woman wants me. You know what I'm saying? Right. But sometimes, because of my own emotional problems at the time, maybe I didn't treat a woman the way I was supposed to, but I went back to that woman and apologized because it was on my mind. Right. Anybody who I've knowingly hurt, like, I know that I did it, I hurt them, I've apologized. I've never gotten that. There's people who have violated me, you know, and like the song that you heard of mine, the old song when I used to rap, Rise Head to the Sky. Mm-hmm. If you listen to those lyrics, that's me talking about like what? Why do y'all like hurting me the way you do? You know what I'm saying?
We definitely play that.
Yeah, people don't like this statement, but I'll be the first to say sometimes it is everybody else. Because it's a large portion of society that tells people get over it. You can't tell a woman that's been violated, a man that's been violated, to just get over it and be strong. Right. You know, a lot of people are saying that, but I'm a human service, right? I'm a human service professional. Mm-hmm. I don't just deal with people as a preacher spiritually, but I deal in human service too. That's what my degrees are in. Mm-hmm. I see wounds every day in my work. Right. So you can't just tell, and the Bible doesn't even tell people to just get over it. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. The Bible talks about a healing process. The reason why the Bible talks about praying without ceasing is not only to hear God, but to get a healing. He knows you need to spend time with him. That's why he got so angry at the priests for turning the house into a den of thieves. He's like, because y'all making money and people are still walking away broken.
Right.
And years later, you know who did that same thing similar?
Who?
Martin Luther, the white man who stood against, no disrespect to anybody who's Catholic, but he had an issue with how Christianity was being misrepresented.
Yes, Martin. Yeah.
Yeah, and he stood up against it. He was like, because there was a man who was suffering from alcoholism, and he gave him a paper that they gave him from the church saying you're exonerated from all your sins, but they left him in that drunken state. He was outraged. So, you know, when people see that I'm a preacher, they don't really understand the conviction, because a lot of people are making a mess of the calling. But it's 24/7. It's 24/7 with me. If I'm not in the pulpit or in the jail preaching, I'm at the drug programs trying to help somebody. And this is why I get mad at the fake pro-black people who's never with me when I'm in the dungeon.
Right.
You want to talk about the Bible and the white man and all that. Okay, but why you're not with me when I'm in the dungeon? You're not there.
Right.
When I'm dealing with people who've been raped, boys who've been touched by their uncle, women who've been sold by their mother. Like, this is not something I'm making up. I've seen this.
Right.
And they're not there. But the first thing you want to criticize is my Bible. Come on. Sorry.
Exactly.
Look, see, Tanya, you got me started. I'm sorry.
Amen. No, you said that's right, Victoria. Victoria said, "Amen, preach." But you just like got me in a whole thing. Wow, you made me think about stuff. I appreciate that because the advice you're giving is real. What advice would you give to others that are being in these challenging times, whether it's at work, or home, or whether it's internal struggles? Because that's deep stuff you just gave us. Very deep.
Well, I'll tell you this. There was times where my only friend was God. You know what I'm saying? I had a good family. I have a good family. My mother and father were good people, are good people. Right. My sister Sonia was always an achiever. She was, did things the right way. She got married. She was, so I always had inspirations to take from. But what I will tell people is there are times where God is your only friend. God is not an illusion. The reason why he's letting us see the world fail, not only because it was prophecy in the Bible, but he needs us to turn to him. The reason why you're seeing all of what you're seeing is because men, human beings, want to be God, and they want to disinvite God. You know what I'm saying? Like, just think about our world. We don't want the Bible telling us nothing. We don't want to be the husband of one wife. We want to have 2 and 3 women. Yeah. Right. Yeah. We want to do what we want to do. We want to get high. We want to rob, other countries. We
want to own Mars.
Right. We want to do things that just is not glorifying to God, and then wondering why the world is like it is. That's why I tell a lot of the older generation, don't badmouth the younger generation, because we helped them get where they are. Not we, me and you, but each generation dropped the ball somewhere. We all did.
Right.
So we can't just clear our conscience on them. We gotta correct our wrong. Like, even myself, when I first started making records, some of my records were very angry, and I had to clean up my music. Then when God called me, I had to leave the rap game and pick up my Bible, because there's other young men that need to see me do that. So my advice to anybody is, if God is calling you, answer him. That's the best thing that you could do, because this world is falling down around us.
It sure enough is, as we speak. It is real. Out here. Out here. So listen, I want to play your video. Tell us the name of it again, and we're gonna play it in the show. And we'll play your video, and then in the show. I appreciate you so much for taking the time to come to name the video for us.
Okay, before I name the video, I just want to say thank you, Tanya. And I want to let the viewers know, when I was putting my records out, Tanya gave me an interview. Tanya was doing big things. She didn't have to make time for me, but she did, which I appreciate. I love you for that. But the name of the song, this is an old song when I was rapping. I don't rap anymore, but it's called Rise, Head to the Sky. And the sample is from Earth, Wind, and Fire. Keep your head to the sky. I wrote the song. Yeah, I wrote the song to describe the pain that I went through from, just being betrayed in relationships and friendships, and just, in a way, being a preacher's kid. But I didn't know that was some of the reason why I was experiencing what I was experiencing. But just being an outcast and being hurt by your own peers and stuff like that.
Right. Well, thank you. We're going to check that out. And before we play that video, I want to say hi to your sister who's out there, and Grandma
Sonia.
and a couple other people. I see you out there. Thank you so much, guys, for watching.
And I want to say hi to my wife. Sorry.
Oh, yes, that's right. Yes.
Keyshawn. Hey, Keyshawn. Keyshawn is a beautiful human being who prayed for me and helped me to get where I'm at today. A praying wife is the closest thing to heaven on this earth. Love you, baby.
That's right. That's right. Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you so much, guys. Make sure you guys like and share this video. But we're going to go to Rich's video right now. So hang tight for 1 second here. Video. Oh, wait. No, I got the wrong one. Look at me. Get it right. Share. I can't see. I don't got my glasses on. Oh, there it is. Share screen. There it is. My glasses. And it's called Rise. Keep your head to the sky. Here we go. All right. There we go. Yeah, let's see. Okay. Is it low or is it me? Is it low? I'm trying to see, is it low on here or here?
I keep my head to the sky even when I cry, cause many in my circle plan for my demise. Honestly, I couldn't even tell you why, but like Maya Angelou says, I'll ride. This world is full of demons that move in disguise. They strip you of your dignity and murder your pride. Assassinate your character, take your mind from you. Now you can't lift your head to face the ones that love you. I always see kindness being taken for weakness. That's why when I strike, I leave my enemies speechless. Those who claim they love you really want you dead. Have you ever felt that somebody's aiming for your head? It's probably the same homie that tells you he got your back, but when it's on, you would have thought son ran track. He's gone. All that brotherhood was an act. Even deeper, he may have even helped set the trap. The optimism of life, sometimes I find myself doubting. Real friends, it don't take a whole hand to count them. But I will rise, I never stay down for a hater. I fight against the evil with passion of the creator. I conquer this world, let God be my guide, and find it in my heart to keep my head to the sky. This world is full of obstacles, struggles on every corner, but whatever doesn't kill me will only make me stronger. I'll always be on top of my game. I know I could attempt to bring unity back to my hood. My pride is everything. I can do without the fame, without the artificial love, friendships, and head games. A woman kissed my lips and tried to conquer my inner man, but yet and still I'm strong enough to carry out my plan. Poetry is in my spirit. I don't even need fans. You try hard, you die hard, and no one gives a damn. You ever need a friend to understand your pain too? The poetry inside me is reaching out to you. I keep my head to the sky even when I cry, cause many in my circle plan for my demise. Honestly, I couldn't even tell you why, but like Maya Angelou says, I'll rise.
If my gun had a conscience, I would repent for all the pain and the nonsense and just stop it. If it had a soul, it would listen to its owner, but every time it lets off, it gets a boner. In turn, excitement turns me colder and decreases my chances that a life of getting older. Was it the X, dope, crack, weed, and coca that had me all comfortable like a sofa? But soon I got sleepy and realized that's how my enemies would see me and then beat me. Eventually, one day, raid my TP, catch me while I'm sitting pretty, and then leak me. I'm no sitting bull. And while you spitting bull, I'm about to be spitting full. Leave you sitting full. These are the days I wish my gun didn't pull. On his free will, one Creed kill, leaving the street filled, bodies of meat build in the mortuary as you get your coffin carried to the grave plot where you get orphan buried in the same spot as your lane pops. I gotta ask myself, when does the chain stop? Like a cat in the street who get his chain popped for less money than it's worth. Now that ain't smart. But still, hate will come feel the average person. After that, it's like a done deal. I keep my head looking to the sun still. If today don't get me, I know that one will. And I'm gonna tell you straight up, son, that's dumb will.
I keep my head to the sky even when I cry, cause many in my circle plan for my demise. Honestly, I couldn't even tell you why, but like Maya Angelou says, I'll rise. I keep my head to the sky even when I cry, cause many in my circle plan for my demise. Honestly, I couldn't even tell you why, but like Maya Angelou says, I'll rise.
Yay. Yes. Okay. That's what's up. Thank you. That is awesome. That was dope. Can you hear me?
My wife, yeah, my
wait.
wife is over here making me laugh.
Why?
She's
Why?
over here because she's over here dancing, looking all cute
That
and
was
everything.
dope. That was straight fire.
Yeah.
I was like, yo, they are bringing the real true hip hop, lyrical content, all that in a bag of chips. I'm loving it.
Oh,
You know how long
yeah.
it's been since we heard real hip hop? Are you kidding? Dude,
I
it's
know.
been like,
you know what? And that's what. But that, you know what, Tanya? That's what I love about you, because a lot of people wouldn't really have known who we were if you didn't give me that interview the first time when we was downstairs in the office.
When I heard it, I was like, yo, they're legit. It's on. I mean, I was sad when you left, because I was like, we don't have any rappers anymore. I mean, excuse me, we don't have any hip hop anymore. We got rappers.
Right.
Hip hop heads, and a lot of people don't know. I studied music. I used to be a backup singer. I know a lot about music. I work for a lot of musical artists.
Yeah.
So
Oh yeah.
A lot of people don't know that about me. They think I'm just to fashion, but I have a lot of. I grew up as a preacher in church, music. So
yeah,
that's my thing. So I understand.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead. No. See, but people haven't studied your history, because see, I know your history. I know you was an actor. Like I tell people that, like, I forgot who was asking me. They was like, Tanya from On Town. I was like, yeah, that's the young lady who once worked for CNN.
Well, it wasn't CNN.
Are we still live? I think we still live.
Yes, we're still live. Oh yeah, we still live.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't CNN. It was another
so
station. I was freelancing. Yeah, but
yeah,
I chose not to do that full time.
Yeah,
no,
but I forgot to tell people with that song I paid tribute to Maya Angelou.
Yes, well, that's beautiful.
She was somebody I always admired. That matter of fact, one of the things that inspired that song is "I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings."
Yes, she's amazing. I met her one time. She's amazing.
Oh,
absolutely.
You did?
Amazing one. Amazing.
Wow.
Amazing. I mean, just as large in life in person than when you hear about her or see her on TV.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
But that song, I'm telling you, is straight fire. And you could play it 10 years from now, 2 years from now, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, it's still going to be fire. So I'm just like, you might want to recycle that and keep that in the crate. Take it out the crate.
Yeah, I'm like so focused on the gospel, but I never, when we were out there, when we were doing what we were doing, people used to always tell me, nobody wants to hear that. We want to hear, but you know me, I'm not going to change because of what, that's how I am with the gospel now. I'm not, I heard it sounded like it was double playing. That's just because I could hear you.
Oh, probably so.
Okay. But it didn't sound like that on your end.
No.
Okay.
When I hear playback on Facebook, I'll let you know. But thank you so much for taking the time, man, to come through and see us and bless us. It's such a blessing. It's such a blessing to have you back here. And I'm always down with the word of God. So.
Oh yeah.
I'm a little biased, as they say. Especially since they say you can't say God on some of the social media. I'm like, I don't care. You can't, right? I will just I would disconnect from this platform. Bye.
But that's but Tanya, did you know that that's discrimination too? When they say you can't say God or Jesus, but you can say FUCK and all of this and the N-word, and like there's people saying the N-word and justifying it, but Jesus is offensive to you. Like
exactly.
I wonder do people think.
No, they don't. And it's just really annoying. It's so annoying. But I don't really care because I'm going to say what I want to say whenever I want to say it. So,
I know that.
I believe in it. And I believe in God. For me, it's helped my life. So even if it may not be good for someone else, that's good for you. Don't tell me I can't say it. So,
I know you've been a powerful force.
Yeah. Oh, I don't play. Listen, Marie Dorsey Williams taught me well. That's all I can tell you. She taught me well. So when it comes to, your faith, you stand your ground. I stand my ground on that one. You know what I'm saying? Ground another way, but I stand my ground with how I feel, how I believe my spirituality. I don't let nobody play with that. It's not a joke for me.
Yeah.
You know, so
No, I don't blame you. I don't blame. But you've always been a woman of conviction ever since I know you, Tanya. Like that's what I've always admired about you. That's why I love coming to do the show. And I believe, like you. I mean, when you interview me, Tanya, you pull things out of me in a good way. But I believe, like, if I'm not mistaken, I don't think I've ever talked about what me and you talked about today on a live. I don't think I've ever.
Really?
Like what I went through, we're getting violated and all. I don't think a lot of people don't know that about me. I mean, my family knows, but
surprise,
a lot of people,
you know, here's the thing. It gives you even more of a testimony.
Wow.
That's how I see it. You know what I'm saying? Wow. That's and I just think sometimes when we share, you know, like, you know, in our counseling training, like you don't share unless you think it's going to benefit people. But I'm like, it always benefits people, because there's someone out there thinking about suicide, and then they hear your story and say, wait a minute, wait, what? Why are they still so public? Why do they still believe in God? Why do they still, you see what I'm saying? So there's always,
I still believe.
People think, you know I talk a lot, but the truth is, I like to talk people through their stuff. You know what I'm saying? And don't talk like us. Some people are never going to say what we say, ever. And that's
you're right.
That's not a good thing, to be able to suck that off.
It's not. And I appreciate you, because you when you talk, I don't agree that you just talk a lot. You have a lot of useful things to say, because I look at a lot of lives and a lot of, you know, YouTube stuff, and it's just a mess. It's stuff that's it's just I like it because you do your own thing.
Thank you. And that's what they said. Someone just asked me the other day, well, why don't we go and talk about this? Because I mean, when I talked about gossip, I looked at my old shows. When I talked about gossip, I got higher ratings. You know, people liked it, blah, blah, blah. But I was like, no, I do something called gossip that heals. So if you hear me talking about a celebrity, I bring it back with something that can benefit your life.
Bring it back, Oh, yeah.
Because what would be the point of that? I don't care about Kim Kardashian. What is she going to do for me? What is she going to do for you? Certainly nothing, except for make you say, you know, make you think things. That's about it. There's nothing that's going to come out of that. But I can tell you, I can abstract something out of that can make something good. You know what I'm saying? And that's where On the Town with Tanya is. We're not about following the trends. I don't care about the trends. And as you can see, I'm here. I've been doing this. People don't know this, Rich. I've been doing this 25 years.
Oh, yeah. I know. I look at the pictures.
Square Mall. That's where I started filming at.
Yeah. That's why. And you know what? I was just getting ready to say, the reason why I know one of the reasons why you don't do the gossip and all of that is because you're too seasoned. See, you got too much to offer. For real. You got too much to offer. And because that's what I know about you. You know, you got way too much to offer.
I grew up around brothers, and they weren't into gossip, so that's probably why I'm not a gossiping girl at all. I'm not the cause and all. Nope.
Yeah, it's a waste of time.
Yeah, I need substance, and right now people are hurting, and that's almost why I don't know if you know, I've had like 3 religious topics this month. I think this month or in the last 2 months on.
I think 3. Yeah.
Yeah, minister. I had somebody else on talk about religion and how it helped them with recovery, because that's where people are. They need every weapon they can to form, because the devil's busy. The devil's busy. They need every tool that they can get in their toolbox just to survive mentally. Just to survive mentally.
Listen,
after the pandemic.
You know, I know.
Just that piece. Well, forget taking the drugs. Forget following the leader of the bad people. Forget all that stuff. Forget all the politics. Just to stay alive mentally and stay present, right? And understand that God gave you breath and you're here. That's half the battle. That's why I do. And I hope that I never bow down and say, well, okay, I got to start doing what everybody else does, because I don't want to be Wendy Williams. Wendy Williams did what she did at her time, and it was great for her time. I can't do that. I don't want to do that.
But it's not working for her now. You know, it eventually wears out.
In the end, we are who we are, right?
Yeah. And not only that, but you're right, because with all this stuff going on, people like you are very necessary, because when we talk about God, it's important, because listen, knowing God sometimes makes it scarier, because for me, right, I'm not just thinking about what's going on the news or what's going on right now. I'm also thinking about eternity.
Right.
Where are these souls going? You know, because you know how they say rest in peace? They say that for a reason. I want to be resting in peace, and I want as many people to rest in peace as possible when we have to go. Exactly. You know, I don't want to get to the gates, so to speak,
Right.
and God say, what did you, you hurt Tanya,
Right.
you hurt everybody. I'm sorry, I'm going on. I'm sorry.
No, I know we're both in the preaching mode now. All right, we'll let y'all go
Yeah.
to church next Sunday instead of today,
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah.
But I definitely have to come see your church one day for sure.
Oh yeah. For
And I
sure.
appreciate you so much. And we can never talk too much about God. I don't ever think so, especially in these times, Rich. So I don't ever take it back because I feel like if my viewers fall off. Do what you got to do. I'm gonna do what I got to do.
Yeah. Listen, I'm not ashamed of the name of Jesus.
Either. So there it is. But
If
I
people
do
can get on TV and people can get on TV and flash and show their body, get naked, and
they can take time to watch that for an hour. So do you? I'm doing me, and I stand my ground on that. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm right where I'm supposed to be, and there's somebody out there that will hear something that they think can change or save their life. That's it.
Yeah.
I thank you so much, Rich, and
thank you too.
Thank you for your listeners. Thank you all you guys who came through for Rich. I appreciate you. Everybody, please do me a favor and share the video. I appreciate you so much because the whole part of it of doing your own independent thing. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to be on CNN and 5 because they're going to tell me what to do. I like doing this. You know what I'm saying? It would be nice to have sponsors. So share if you can for me. If you can,
they would never let you have me on.
Well, never say never. I'm very cunning. Don't worry. If I get to CNN, I'll still have you.
Thank you.
Because I know how to get down. But so you guys do me that favor, share, like, and subscribe. And if at the end of the day nobody does, don't worry about Tanya. Tanya's gonna be all right. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Always. So thank you, Rich. And
thank you too.
guys.
God bless you. Love you.
Yes, love you too. Hang out for a minute, Rich. Hang out.
Okay.